A journey through time. Oh. Welcome back to the Mystic Rebels podcast. My name is Ashley. I am an educator, a mother, a healer, and I am here to tell you all about how I decided to teach herbalism. Not just the teaching, the choice to teach, but how I'm teaching it. And it's essentially completely different than anything I've been able to learn or find in the herbalism community. And there's nothing wrong with that. I've finally I've surrendered to the energy that I have to do this. I have to teach in a completely authentic way. And I've found that within my practice, when I'm helping people heal themselves with herbs or through helping them meet their spirit guides or tarot. It's authentic, and it is a way I have found to do things, and my students resonate greatly with the way that I teach. So I knew that I couldn't just teach from a place of this is the lens of science, this is how I learned, and now I'm just sharing the same information. Because I had a really hard time learning herbalism. And I'm sure there are a lot of people who have struggled learning herbalism and decided this isn't for me. And I knew that it was for me. With a Chiron in the 9th house, I have an issue with trusting my intelligence, with believing I'm even intelligent. And it's been my whole life, but not anymore. So in my earlier life, and I've been embracing my intelligence over the last decade since I found herbalism, since I found holistic healing and plant medicine and understood the magic of anatomy and physiology that lives within us. And by honoring that and looking back at the girl who was trying desperately to learn from all these different masters, and I did learn a lot, I did. But I had to create my own resources, my own notes, my own way of learning. And when I look back at the history of learning, which I've studied, and I've loved studying that because it really helped me understand why I struggled so much in school, why teachers thought I was special. Well, she doesn't understand. She has cognitive issues and, she doesn't listen and she's constantly moving. Yeah, because we were never meant to just sit and learn as children. We are meant to experience. We are meant to hear stories. That's how ancient man taught. That's how stories and history was passed down generation to generation, was through telling stories. In the Native American culture, my tribes, they would have a person that was specific to storytelling, and these tribal members were gifted with the ability to remember all the stories, all the different stories that could be passed down from generation to generation. And it was up to them to maintain their truth, to maintain their integrity, and to remember all of it. But remembering through story is how we learned, how we are hardwired to learn, even before the written word, before things were written on caves or carved into wood. We sat around a fire or a pit or in our homes or in our tents and told stories and connected to their truth and connected to how they could apply to our own lives and inspire our own lives. And that's how I learn. I learn through stories. I need stories. I need visuals. I need mysticism. I need lore. And, one of the things that I love about plants is the magic of plants and the history and connecting it to their origins, understanding the derivation of a word and where that word came from. In the case of the plant that I taught today, thyme, you're looking at thymus and thymos. Thymus and thymos are it can mean perfume, it can mean fumigate, it can mean open heart, it can mean courageous. Ancient Greeks used to rub thyme on their bodies or bathe in thyme water or chew on thyme just before running into battle because it was seen as this assertive magic, this power of the plant. And they didn't separate magic from the science. It was just what was. This is what happens when you work with time. And I knew I had to teach that. And there's wonderful connections to time and fairies. And I told my husband after the class today, I was like, that felt amazing, but also really uncomfortable. And he was like, why? Why was it uncomfortable? And I said, because I loved it, but also I'm teaching about fairies and lore, and I'm creating shamanic journeys and introducing you to plant spirits. Like, what is my life right now? But it's amazing and it's so fulfilling. Chiron being in the ninth house, being higher education, and being also in Gemini for me. So it literally is me teaching. It's knowledge, it's the written word, it's the spoken word. And figuring out how to teach authentically with that energy is just so fulfilling. I pulled some cards before I did the class today, and in what I needed to surrender to effortlessness. What? Stop pushing so hard, bitch. It doesn't say bitch. The art of living means going with the flow instead of trying to force the river. And I was forcing the river in how I had created my class. Yesterday, I deleted 99.9% of it. I had worked on it for a couple weeks on my phone, on my computer, and I was like, yes, this is all the science they need to know. This is all the information. Okay, we've got the genus, we've got the family name, we've got the properties. All right, I'm ready to teach. And I sat down at my computer yesterday and I looked at it and I was like, this doesn't feel right. This does not feel right. I'm missing something. Something is missing. Something is not authentic. So you know what I did? I just deleted it. I deleted most of it. And my husband, I was about an hour into working, and my husband was like, how's it going, honey? And sent me pictures of the girls. And I was just like, well, I just deleted half of my work, more than half of my work. And I'm scared, but also excited. I'm excited because this feels right. So I'm surrendering. I'm surrendering to it. And he wrote back, he's like, good. And because with our astrology that he developed, alchemistic astrology, he's been telling me for a while that I can't teach or do my work like anyone else has done. And I realized I need to teach the class. I need to teach in the format that I would have loved earlier in my journey. The class that younger me, little girl, was like, plants are pretty, would have loved, because I talked about the lore, the culture, the mysticism. We talked about key properties. So the fact that it's great for expectorant uses, relieving phlegm, soothing tissues with its warming capabilities, and then so much more. And then I was like, I've been doing these shamanic journeys, these trance-like state immersive experiences. I started doing spiritual awakening. That's something that I do on an individual basis, one-to-one. And I help you create this specific sacred space that is yours and unique to you in every way, shape, or form, visually, spiritually, physically. And that's where you meet your guides, and I help facilitate that experience. And every time I do one of those, my clients come out going, wow, oh my God, what was that? I've never experienced anything like that. And it's just, my heart, my Chiron, every aspect of being, everything is just in alignment in that moment. I'm like, really? Okay, good. Because it makes me feel like a little kid. It makes me feel like I'm healing that inner child that was told, there's nothing there. Yeah, you say you see something, you're scared of something, you sense something, you hear something. There's nothing there. Don't be so scared. If you want, here's a crystal. And my mother's friend actually brought me my very first crystal, and I have it on an altar in the other room. It was an amethyst. And she brought it because it was my birthstone, but also it was meant to give me an anchor in this world. And so I apply the things that helped me as a child into the way I help others heal themselves. And that's really what I'm doing. I'm creating immersive experiences. I'm teaching this wisdom, but it's all up to you how you apply it and how you utilize it. The people showing up for spiritual awakenings or for my classes where there's always an immersive experience, because if we're not transforming our conscious awareness of whatever aspect we're learning, what the are we doing? Sun in the eighth, man. And also Venus in the eighth. So I need that transformation. I need to allow people to have that emotional connection to things. And that's why I have to emotionally connect to my work. So in teaching people about fairies and growing time, how it draws in bees, and I'm going to be teaching about bee magic and honey and all these things that just make our lives so much better when we connect to it, and then introducing them to the spirit of time and how that shows up for them. It was just a wonderful immersive experience, and even though I walked them through it, at the end I was like, so how was that for you guys? That's not the class I intended to teach, but that is the class that came through me yesterday. Just, okay, let's do this. What would I want to learn? And also simultaneously nerding out over this stuff and having the ability to create a materia medica that is so rich with mysticism, esoteric truths, lore, cultural significance. It has the properties, it has the scientific stuff too, but you don't need it once you have the doctrine of signatures in there, and just being able to look at a plant and go, that's what they're telling me. That's what that truth is within that plant. And I asked everyone in the class after. I was like, "So, did you guys enjoy that?" And like, "That was great. That was great." And I told them, I know there wasn't as much science, and there wasn't as much science jargon, and they were like, "We don't need that." But I watch these podcasts, and all my teachers in the past, they have a language that is so science-based. And I told my husband, I was like, I don't want people to question my intelligence when I don't use all the different fancy terms. And he's like, no one's questioning your intelligence but you. No one equates big words that they don't understand with intelligence. Your intelligence is your language. How would you want to have learned these words or this language in a much more supportive, in a much more engaging way? And that's the class that I just created. It is called the Journey Through Time. It was a webinar, so it was a live class, which we do often in Circle, like multiple a month. I did a full moon ritual where we were healing our relationship to abundance. Next month in Circle, we're going to be doing a full moon ritual where we heal our inner child. That ish is going to get emotional, but it's great because you can turn off your camera and people can just have their experience, and then at the end, if they want to share with us in Circle in the group, then they can, or they can just share it with their guides and keep it to themselves. The beauty of the community we've committed to and connected to and created is that it is a product of these amazing individuals who are showing up to do the work for themselves. And everything that we teach, with everything that we teach, we're also wonderfully surprised and excited by the way people are applying it in aspects of their lives. We talk about moon magic and applying an understanding of the moon with our cycle. And I can do a podcast on that too, because I could talk forever about our menstruation and how magical it is to menstruate, or whatever season of womanhood you're in. There is honor and reverence that we must express to those phases and those seasons. So that was just the first plant. In October is when this podcast is airing. And I'm just fired up to teach herbalism the way I would want to have been taught, the way that I'm inspired to share and to engage. And I'm just And then I took a suggestion from one of our members. The next plant is going to be lavender. And that's going to be emotional for me because lavender and chamomile are the first plants that ever came into my physical realm. My mother always drank chamomile lavender tea. So that's going to evoke a lot of emotions. For those of you that don't know, my mama is no longer with me in this realm. So, but she is within me always. So that'll be a wonderful way to connect to her. And there's just a storied past to every plant. And with this series, the monthly series, it's specific to plants that are highly accessible, that you can garden with, that you can grow in your house, that you can, use in your cooking. I want that series to be an introduction to herbalism that's fun and not too serious. One of the other cards that I pulled before the class was intuition. Listen to the whispers of your heart. Use divination tools to help you decide. Trust your intuition no matter what. And like surrendering to effortlessness and to my intuition is the way that I am going to be teaching and doing my work completely, because the most empowered results that I get from my clients are just when I let spirit work through me and be my voice, and also my inner child works through me, and other aspects of self are need to be in alignment for me to be able to teach in the way that I feel is worthy of my energy, and that I would want people to enjoy and to not be so stressed about learning. I I know that we are not meant to learn in a school environment where we just have to sit still and listen to whatever's said, and not doodle. Some of us need to doodle when we're learning. Some of us need something tangible. Some of us need that kinetic energy moving. There's a great story about, oh gosh, I think it's Edison. I can't remember exactly who it was, but it was someone who ended up being, a genius known to mankind. And his mother was told by his school that he was special, and he couldn't learn there anymore. He needed to go to a special school. But instead of telling him that, she told him, well, the school said that you're too intelligent and that I should teach you myself. So she took him home and taught him herself. And years later, after she passed, he found the note, and it said, we're sorry, we cannot teach your son. He needs to go to a special school. But the beauty of that is he couldn't learn in that environment, not because there was something wrong with him, but because there was something wrong with the way they were teaching. We are not at all the same people. We are all so unique and so different. There's another story of a woman, Marta Graham, a famous dancer and choreographer. She was always fidgeting and moving around, and they thought that she had this nervous disorder and all these attention issues and cognitive issues. And thankfully, her mother took her to a therapist, and the therapist said, she doesn't need a new school or a therapist. This is a mover. Your daughter wants to move, so put her in a dance class and see what happens. And then she became a huge mover and shaker of the dance revolution. She's known for like the grandmother of, or godmother of, modern dance. So when we allow ourselves our own way of learning, our own way of teaching, and embrace authenticity, it is just so freaking fulfilling. If you're interested in learning with us, we teach astrology and our system of astrology, which transforms people's lives. We teach our system of tarot, and we teach herbalism now. We do rituals, we do healings, guided meditations. What we've created within Circle is something I am so gratified by, and it's safe for me to say proud of. I've always had an issue taking pride in things. Even as a performer, when someone would compliment me, it was uncomfortable because my home environment growing up wasn't always the most nurturing. Let's just say that. So what was familiar was actually criticism. And when people would compliment me or praise me, it was uncomfortable. And it was even uncomfortable for me to speak about myself in a positive way because I thought people would think I had an ego or that I was full of myself. I'm no longer afraid to honor my energy and my contribution to this world. And I'm very proud of what Logan and I have created within Circle. And I hope you are proud of the work that you're doing on yourself, in your profession. And if you haven't found a profession that connects you to your sense of empowerment, that heals your Chiron, we are here to help guide you within Circle. And we also offer readings and healings. But ultimately, honor the way you learn, honor the way you need things to be in your world. Surrender to effortlessness. Yes. And if you haven't expressed an interest in herbalism before, but it's right now you're thinking, maybe, then yes, then you are called to this work. And it doesn't have to be totally all the time. It can be simple. You can simply pick up some time from the grocery store and smell it. Enjoy the scent. You can get some essential oil and put it in a diffuser and let it fill the space. It's purifying, it's enriching, it is cleansing, it's protective, it is medicine for our minds, bodies, and spirits. And if you want to meet the spirit of time, you can join Circle and enjoy that webinar, A Journey Through Time. I'm really going to miss all the puns because I did Time for Time, A Journey Through Time, Time to Bundle Up when we made time bundles, and so many others. And I asked in Circle, I was like, so what should the next plant be? It's got to be a good pun. And when our member said lavender, I was like, are there puns with lavender? She's like, I don't know, make it up. I love lavender. So our next plant is lavender. Thank you guys so much for joining us once again at the Mystic Rebels podcast. I am Ashley. I am here to just share my wisdom, my experience, strength, and hope. And I'm so grateful that you have created a space for me to be vulnerable and feel safe. We all deserve that. And you can find it in Circle or you can find it within because you were made perfect. Vibe higher.